Hey beauties, happy Monday. It's good to see you here on our Beauty IQ Facebook page. As you know, since it's Monday, that means it is Makeup Monday, where you can tune in every Monday around 4 p.m.-ish, where we discuss basically what's trending in the world of beauty, the looks that you need to know about, and also how to achieve them. So in the spirit that Halloween, I guess, is Halloween a week away? I think it is. So in the spirit of Halloween, we decided to have a little fun because we've done everything from mermaids to doll 10 on Friday. We had a little fun with cats, at least a cat eye look. And so we wanted to take what you've been seeing on Instagram, but also maybe some of your friends like mine, Melissa and Marissa, coincidentally, don't know each other, but both of them have gone as deer, as does for Halloween. And so we thought we would take makeup that you already have in your makeup bag and show you how to achieve this look. So if you've got any questions, my friend Stephanie's hanging out with us on Facebook. Ask away because we're going to have a lot of fun and we're going to show you easy ways on how to achieve it. So let's get started. I would say before you start anything with a heavy contour, pin your hair back. I forgot my hair clip today, so I'm just going to kind of tuck it behind my ears. And when we're doing this look of a deer, which also happens to be like our favorite Snapchat and Instagram filter, I wanted to start with my contour first because it's a little bit heavier than normal. And if you don't have different foundation shades at home, I don't expect you to. What you can do to kind of get started is take your foundation and concentrate it. And once you kind of take your contour just around the forehead and around the cheekbones, which is what we will be focusing on, you can actually take like a powdered bronzer and it'll go on a little bit darker because of your foundation. So that'll help you achieve that look of the deer that we're going for. So I'm going to use the same makeup that I used for Friday night's Beauty IQ Halloween show with Doll 10 to show you how to do this. So what's nice about this is we just grabbed two different foundation colors, and this is from the Hydra Bomb foundation. So I'm going to take a look and start here with the tan or the deep. And what's nice about this foundation is when I go to put this on, it goes on really, really, really well. So if you are somebody that has issues with texture of your skin, I feel like this kind of evens out everything, and it's not like you're putting darker makeup on top of acneic skin, mature skin, anything like that. So let me grab my picture. I did this over the weekend, and you always wonder when you come back in the office, can I recreate it? So I'm going to start with the tan because I think the deep might be a little too dark for my complexion. I'm normally a medium skin tone through and through, but I'll start with the tan just to kind of show you where my contour is going to go. So I'm just going to kind of sculpt around my face and around my cheekbones. Just like this. And so it should be really exaggerated. So I'm going to pop that away. And then I'm going to grab just the deep right here, and I'm going to kind of just lightly spot over this just to kind of mix and match it. Now remember, the other option when you're doing Halloween makeup, especially if it's, you know, foundation that you already have, or if you don't have it, the good news is you can just go to the store, buy a random foundation for Halloween, and just kind of use it with the darker shades if you want to. But I had this in the studio from our show on Friday, so that's what I'm going to use to create this look. So I'm going to start stippling in, and you may notice, because this foundation is so blendable, which is awesome, that it doesn't kind of blend as dark as it looks on your complexion. That's totally cool. You can go back and kind of recreate that just so it's a little bit darker. And depending on the look that you want to go for, honestly, this may be enough, but I feel like with all the self-tanner and whatnot, I'm going to go just a little shade darker. I also wanted to start with my contour first because I feel like that's going to set the tone for how I want to do my eyeshadow. Because you don't want to forget while we're creating this look, you wouldn't want to be like full on deer doe moment and then have nothing on your eyes. It kind of wouldn't make sense or tie in together. So make sure that when you're using your own makeup at home that you still have a look prepared for your eyes. And don't worry if it's not perfectly blended, because we're going to add light back to this. And so you'll be able to kind of darken it up as you go. But I just wanted to create some structure. By the way, I think we have to ask what your favorite scary movie is. We asked about it on Beauty IQ on Friday night and got a lot of great responses. Yesterday, I had a triple feature. I watched The Last Twilight, What Lies Beneath, and we also watched Baby Driver, but I don't really feel like that was scary. It had its moments of anticipation. We were like, ooh, on the edge of your seat, but not scary movie. I think my all-time favorite scary movie would have to be Scream. 1996, Wes Craven. Me and my girlfriends were in 6th grade, and we snuck into the movie, and we're so scared we had to leave halfway through. Went back the next weekend, got some gumption, and stayed the whole time, and it was fabulous. All right, so I think... All right, you guys have to tell me. Does it look dark enough? It's kind of hard to see with this blue background. Could it be a little darker? Yay, nay? Anyone? You think it's dark enough? Okay. You didn't have to answer if you were on Facebook. Everybody that's in our social suite right now was like, oh, you're talking to me? And the answer is yes, I'm talking to all of you. You can feel free and chime in. My friend Stephanie is going to take your questions if you want to ask me. All right, so dark enough right there. Next step on this, actually, is going to be the fair. So what I'm going to use by taking this foundation is creating the same light that I would if we were contouring. It's just so exaggerated for this. So I'm going to just take the fair. And remember, I'm a medium tone, so you'll have to adjust this thought process based on what you have at home and, of course, your skin tone. And then I'm just going to go and blend this in.
Shannon said it's dark enough.
Thank you, Shannon. You know, sometimes you have to just ask people, is it dark enough or could you go a shade darker? And I'm so glad I have you guys here to shoot me straight. Now, you'll notice I'm using a stippling motion, especially with something like this, because I'm going to create the light to go back into the dark. You definitely don't want to be moving the product all over your face because it's not going to be as concentrated as you want it to be. And so I'm just kind of stippling it in so that it'll blend in to my light and dark. Who is that? Lori. So the foundation that I'm using tonight is from Doris Dalton, and it is the Hydrolux. I apologize, this looks terrible, and my makeup soaked hands are all over it. It could not be a least of a sexy shot, but it's really great because this is the foundation that honestly, for any skin type in any age range, this kind of has this self-leveling powder where I don't always feel like you have to use a setting powder, but I feel like if you have acneic skin, if you have uneven textured skin, this is really nice because it seems so well balanced on every complexion that I've seen it. So we had a show last Friday night on Beauty IQ where we did this Halloween special, and I was really impressed with the foundation. So I wanted to bring it back for today's Makeup Monday. All right, so I'm going to continue to go just a little bit lighter. And actually, while I'm here, this is a good time to mention, whatever shade you decide to go lighter with, don't make it the lightest shade possible, because we're going to go back and do those sweet little freckles that we see on like the little baby deer and put them on our face. So let me do just a little bit more. In kind of the same way that we would tell you to contour and add light, that's what I'm doing. So you can kind of see I'm creating the half circle with the fair foundation. And the good news is with this, if you overdo it, it's fine. You can go back and fix it. And if it's not enough, you can go back and fix it. just make sure that you have like little wipes. These are our Purity facial wipes that are in constant demand here at Beauty IQ. And I actually just take my brush between colors, especially if you're going from light to dark, and just wipe it off on here. All right. That way you just have clean utensils. All right, I'm going to take the deep one more time. Just go right there. Just kind of blend it in some more. Perfect. All right. So that's going to wrap up our Hydrolux. And then, I apologize, elevator going down. Forgot my bag. Oops, hold on. What? Is that okay? Sorry, guys. All right, so I had to go down to the QVC salon to grab these, but they really are awesome. So this is my bag of crazy that I work with every week. I think it's probably around 11 pounds now, just full of sheer makeup, which is just crazy to think about. Okay, so this is from Julep, and this is their 5-in-1 complexion cushion formula. And what's nice about this is it has this little sponge on the outside. And so when you see this, what's cool about this is you can actually like paint your entire face. And I say paint, I mean, you know how to put on foundation. But what's nice about this is because you've got that rounded sponge, you could use something like this if you had a makeup applicator. But if you don't, just grab like a beauty sponge, I mean, from your local, beauty convenience store, what have you. Actually, I shouldn't say beauty convenience store. I don't even think they have those. Go down to the Rite Aid or Walgreens and grab yourself a sponge. And what you can do actually is whatever foundation you're working with, just paint it on your hand and then dip the sponge into that formula and then start to dot your face. So I had this at the beauty in the QVC salon, so this is what I'm going to use because it's the shape of a perfect circle. Now the question here, where I can get really overboard with stuff like this, is how many spots should I put on my face? Because when I did our little leopard kitty, it was a lot of spots. But I'm an avid fan of polka dots. I love these little spotty animals. And I'm just going back and darkening my complexion just a little bit so that you'll be able to really see the spots. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to just take this tip and I'm just going to put them on my forehead. And the reason I'm going ahead and doing my spots now is just so that they have enough time to dry. So you just have a little like that. And then I'm going to do them all down my cheekbones. So, here. Do one more there. So you can kind of see the side that I'm doing that. And then I'll do, let's see, 1, 2, 6 more on this side. Perfect. All right, so there are my spots. So keep in mind, you can do this as a doe. You can turn it into a cat if you wanted to. You would just kind of line the outside with black eyeliner. And if you follow me on Instagram, we kind of have like a little how-to breakdown of how to achieve that. But while I'm letting this dry, remember I told you that while you have all of these looks going on, you want to make sure not to forget about your eyeshadow or your lips as well. So I'm going to continue on with my eyeshadow and then I'm going to draw in my nose. So I'm going to take this palette called the Pro Eyeshadow Palette 2 from Doris Dalton, and it's got 12 colors. It's kind of like the perfect balance of one with shimmers, ones with mattes, and kind of just buildable colors, which is really nice. So I'm going to use a couple of colors here just to build an exaggerated transition. So I'm going to start with this one right here. It's called Goddess, and it's a little darker than I would normally do for my transition shade, and that's the area that when you focus on this, I'm going to be penciling in kind of right around the crease and a little bit above, almost to meet the brow, just so it's a little dramatic. It was so official, Stephanie. You're like, Courtney. Winston and Bella are my babies. They're my fur babies. We refer to them in our house as the Cocker Spaniels. And the truth is, yes, they will be dressing up for Halloween. I will be at work, but we are Halloween enthusiasts at our house. And so let me tell you the story of Winston's Halloween costume gone wrong. So Winston is a chubby little Cocker Spaniel. He has very short legs, borderline on short legs, almost like a corgi. And last year, we really wanted him to go as Beetlejuice. It's his second favorite movie, and we thought, why not? Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. We get the costume, and Winston is a large by default, which is very curious because in the actual listing, there's like a larger dog, and he needed the large. So we get it. The jacket fit like a dream. However, we had to scrunch up the arm fittings because his legs were so short and his wig didn't fit. It actually like kind of swung around him like he had the Beetlejuice hair as a beard. So it was really awkward and it didn't look like Beetlejuice at all. So because of Winston's body type, we wanted to make sure that he could participate in all Halloweens. So we got him a skull and crossbones sweater. And if all goes well, and I will post later on this week, we got Bella 2 costumes. One is a hot dog and another one is an alligator. So we'll see which one looks best. Is it bizarre that I dressed up my dogs for Halloween?
No, Beetlejuice's
Second favorite movie. His Winston's favorite movie, and he just wags every time it comes on. Nightmare Before Christmas. We really like that in our house. And I say that just because in Nightmare Before Christmas, there's so many like little creatures that make little noises, and every time that it's on, when we watch Freeform, he just is always like barking, he's, howling. He's letting him know he's there. You guys know Winston. Winston's a good buddy. All right. Let's put on a little weight since you've seen him last, Sean. But you'd still be able to recognize him. He's a cutie. All right, so, oh gosh, I forgot. I forget that we're like broadcasting. Okay, so I finished up my transition in my crease, which is a little bit darker. I use this Goddess color. And so now what I'm going to do is go to Desirable, which is this cute little golden color. I'm going to start on the inner corners of my eyes. And then I'm going to take this color up here, which is breathtaking right there. And that's what I'm going to fill in the sides with as well. And that'll get me ready for my liner and for my brows, all that good stuff. So you go here. And remember, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any time. We also do this live just so it's not another Instagram video where you're like, oh, great, that takes a minute. And then an hour later, you're still like, excuse me, how do I do that? So we like to keep it real for you. All right. Yes, so we're recreating the deer Snapchat filter. Now, I don't have my ears, or, what do you call it? Horns, I guess? Horns on top of male deer? Like, we call antlers, there we go. I was like, people base it off a point system. Like, I got an 8-pointer. I'm like, what is that? Antlers is the magical word that escaped me. I haven't had lunch today, but words often escape me. I make no apologies for it. Regular gal. All right, so I'm going to take another one of these. This fluffy brush is genius. Most every collection has them, but I feel like if you are somebody who is really nervous about applying more than one color of eyeshadow, if you're kind of getting into this world of makeup and you're like, ooh, how do you achieve like the crease, the outer corner? This brush is just a dream. You cannot make any mistakes with a fluffy rounded tip brush, and it helps blend everything out. So I'm going to take that shade Desirable, just kind of fill in the edges so it's a little bit softer.
Sport says hi.
Is my dad watching? Hey, Sport. He'd probably be really embarrassed that I didn't know antlers. the word antlers. He's not a hunter, but I think he would just, given where we grew up in the log cabin lifestyle, he'd probably be disappointed. All right. So, all right. Just do a little darker here. And by the way, I'm just using this color Angelic, which is the darkest color that you're going to see in the palette. And I'm just going to create a little bit of a darker transition just on the outside of my eyes. Now, some of you may wear your makeup like this every day, which is awesome. I love a bolder eye and like the look of nude, like around your lips and around skin tone. I'm just doing it a little darker than I normally would. And if you have any fallout from the shadow, no big deal. Just kind of stipple everything back in. That's the one great thing about this foundation is it's very forgiving. So you can kind of see that just from where I was stippling my eyeshadow, I might have had a little something underneath my eyes, but when you've got a great brush and foundation, it should truly just lift right off. And now's a good time to mention, if you see any of your spots not as prominent as you want them to be, you can always go back in and fill them in. So I'm gonna pump this, just kind of, there you go, fill it back in. I have to give a shout out to Sean, our camera guy, who's got the cutest little boy. Sean, what's Max going as for Halloween? He's gonna go as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Amazing. Very cool. All right, beauties. So next part of this is the only thing that I would say for this tutorial gets a little bit tricky, so you definitely want to pay attention. It's the eyes, the nose, and the lips. And actually, hold on one second. Let me grab this. I got a whole bag of crazy. I brought 2 bags of crazy, if I'm honest. Okay. All right, so I'm going to save my, I'm going to save my, I almost said eyeshadow for my brows, but it is, in fact, a brow pencil for last, just to kind of tie everything in, because I may want to make things make a little darker. And I always put my brows on last just so it ties in, because sometimes depending on how neutral my makeup is, maybe I want my brow a little bit bolder, or if I'm going for a bolder eye that's got a lot of colors, I want to make my brow a little softer so it's not so crazy right there. So I'm going to take the doll tin to the point, which is pretty cool because on each side there's 2 different felt tipped liners. So this side that you see right here is for defining. That's the smaller brush. So on any given Sunday, say you just want to tight line your liner and you don't want it to look like you're going to use liner, you'll want to use that side for the thinnest line possible. But if you're somebody that loves like a cat eye, you love more definition in your liner, you'll want to use the line side. And that's really nice because even though it is a little bit of a thicker brush, it's not something that if you're playing around for the first time, you're like, ooh, that was really stark. So with this one specifically, I'm going to revisit my bottom liner shadow in just a second, but I just want to show you what it's like to tight line. So, well, actually, I'm going to start with my wings. So be careful, beauties, not to mess up any of your spots, but you definitely want to pull the skin a little on the top side. So how I'm going to start this is by the wing. And it's just easier to start the wing on the outside rather than go from here over because you can connect it. And you kind of can feel like, okay, where's my last lash? That's where I like to match it to. Where my last lash ends on my eyes is where I like the start of my wing. So it kind of puts everything in proportion. So when you fan your lashes out, it kind of looks like one exaggerated lash. And by the way, if you're nervous about black liner, the good thing is, once you get your starting point, if you're worried if the line's not straight or if it's not exaggerated enough, take a smaller tipped pen, something like this, and you can actually take a darker brown shadow and just go over it with the black. And what that does, Eve Pearl taught me this, is create a little bit more of dimension, but then somebody who's looking at you that is seeing your makeup can't see really the line of demarcation. It always looks smooth and it always looks clean. So little tip for that if you're working with liquid liner for the first time, always have a dark brown eyeshadow waiting in the wings. Pun intended. Amazing. People say Mondays are so uninspiring. Okay, so I'm just going to connect this. And so here is where it gets a little tricky. So notice that I have taken my liner and almost tight lined it against my lashes right in the corner. So it's a little bit of a smaller line. I'm going to continue that all the way out, and then I'm going to bring it back in and smoke underneath the eyes. So here we go. So see, there we go. Almost looks a little Egyptian-ish, but remember, we're talking about the Snapchat filter, the deer, the doe, any way you want to say it. Isn't it amazing how quiet you have to be when it comes to your liner and your mascara? I physically cannot close my mouth when trying to achieve my mascara, so I'm always one of that person that's like, and my liner, it's like crickets. Total crickets. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to start off with my wing. And by the way, I am using the line side to achieve all of this. So I'm going to tight line in, go all the way over. And just as you can see, I might have made one line a little bit too longer. The good news is you can match the other line. So don't worry about that in case it doesn't add up. All right, so let me smoke out the bottom just from that. All right, I'm gonna take that tiny brush I was telling you guys about right here, and I'm just gonna smoke it out with a combination between these two colors, which is Angelic and then Goddess. And then I'm putting it underneath the black eye, or not the black eye, the black liner, just so it blends a little bit more and kind of show you guys what I'm talking about when it comes to making the line a little less harsh. All right, so then the last piece of this, I'm gonna just grab a black liner. This one happens to be from Tarte. And I'm gonna line the outside of my lips. So this will be the last step aside from mascara. And basically, you wanna just draw this so that it's almost like a little heart. And then I'm gonna go back and color this in with liquid liner. So there we have it, and so I'm going to take this over. I don't think you have to take it entirely down your nose, but nice to have consistency. Grab there, there, and then once we go from there, we'll color in the tip right here. And again, I'm going to go back over this with liner, and then this. Okay, so take your liner and use the defined side, which is the bigger side of the felt pen. And so I'm just gonna fill this in, just like that. And fill in here. And if you mess up, the good news is, like when you have foundation, just grab a little wipe right there, perfect. Or you can just draw into it a little bit. So we are using Doll 10 liner for the liquid, and then to just even everything out with a pencil, we're using Tarte liner. Okay, so then I'm gonna pencil over this. Alright, so all you need to do from here is grab your favorite lipstick. So I'm going to use BFF from Doris Dalton, because we want our doe, or our deer, to be pretty. And this was the liquid lip shine. It's absolutely awesome. In a season where your lips are supposed to be like dry like crazy and you can see all of the lines, this really masks everything with a shine that's not sticky. All right, so last but not least, I'm gonna grab, and you know what, I actually like the way that my brows look with this, so I'm just gonna grab the Doll 10 Effort Lash mascara, apply that, and I think we're done. And I probably, for this idea, if you can grab falsies, I think it's really fun. But if not, I would definitely do 2 coats of mascara. I'm obsessed with mascara. And basically, I want to wear 3 coats every single day. So let me get the bottom lash. And then I think I'll just do 1 more coat. All right, beauties. So I think we have it. Here is our cute little doe, our cute little deer. All you would need to get is like cute little antlers if you want to do the cute little ears. I did see something on Instagram where you could actually put your hair in 2 separate buns and kind of accentuate it with feathers. Super, super, super cute. But as you see, I mean, this took around 35 minutes to achieve. We were using makeup that we already had in the studio, which is probably similar to what you have. Remember, if you don't want to go out and buy new makeup that's in different shades than what you already wear, go ahead and concentrate your makeup, specifically when you're going in the darker areas. And when you do that concentration, pat in a powder bronzer, and that'll help you achieve that darkness. Same thing that when you're doing your lighter areas, you can take your foundation and apply a lot of highlighter. Just remember to use like an anti-shine setting powder so that you still get the light versus the dark. And then if you want to use one of your concealers to create your dots, just make sure that you use a setting powder when you pat it in. So here is our super quick doe, or deer, however you want to say it. So I'll let you take a look. All right, beauties. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us on Makeup Monday. Stay tuned because next week we may have another Halloween-themed one, just in case you're running around wondering, what do I do for Halloween? I want to participate and have a little fun, especially if you're going out trick-or-treating with your little ones or you've got a fabulous party to check out. But follow us on Instagram because we've had everything from a cat to a mermaid, now to a deer. Who knows what next week's going to bring? But I'll see you back next Monday around 4 p.m.-ish for more Makeup Monday.